Thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. According to Ed out at the Liberty area, his rain gauge showed that we had 3.19 inches of rain this week. It rained for several days, and it rained day and night. This is what our grandparents would have called a good soaking rain. This helps the farmers through the summer and helps those that have wells to fill up their aquifers. Now, this past week, there was some rioting in the prison system throughout the state. There was a lockdown of the state, private, and regional facilities that will continue until further notice as the Mississippi Department of Correction continues to investigate the most recent violence in the prison system. We are continuing to be vigilant and mindful of the situation, said Commissioner Priscilla Hall. These are trying times for Mississippi Department of Corrections. It is never a good feeling for a commissioner to receive a call that a life has been lost, especially over a senseless acts of violence. 4 inmates have died and several have been injured at 2 state prisons and 1 regional one during the major disturbance since Sunday. 1 death occurred at the South Mississippi Correctional Institute in Linksville and 2 at the Mississippi State Penitentiary at Parchman and 1 at Chickasaw County Regional Correctional Facility in Houston, Mississippi. The Commissioner Hall said, investigators have been working tirelessly and aggressively pursuing leads to determine what sparked the violence. The department has confirmed that some of the major disturbances are gang-related. The identities of the gangs and security threat groups will not be released to the public for security purposes. Commissioner Hall said there is a lot of misinformation fanning the flames of fear in a community at large, and especially on social media. Cell phones are contraband and have been instrumental in escalating the violence. I understand the public's right and need to know, said Commissioner Hall, but my department will not rush to release information for the sake of perpetrating rumors. Contrary to what is being said, we are providing information. There is a process of releasing accurate information, and it takes time. As investigations continue, once the identities of aggressors are known, the department will pursue criminal charges and any other available remedies to the full extent of the law, said Commissioner Hall. Now, the CDC has put out a warning this last week about the investigation of Listeria infections linked to hard-boiled eggs. The safety alert was regarding multiple state outbreaks of the Listeria infection linked to a certain brand of boiled eggs that could be bought in stores. There have been several infections that have sickened 7 people in 5 states: Florida, Maine, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Texas. 4 people have been hospitalized and 1 death has been reported from Texas. Interviews with the ill people and laboratory evidence indicate that bulk, fresh, hard-boiled eggs produced by Allmark Foods of Gainesville, Georgia, are a likely source of this outbreak. These eggs were packed in plastic pails and sold under various brand names nationwide to food service operators, including grocery stores and restaurants. Because Listeria can cause severe infection, the CDC is warning against selling, serving, or using hard-boiled eggs to make foods, such as egg salad. This does not include boiling your eggs at home. This is only including the boiled eggs bought packaged at the grocery stores. If you have purchased these products, do not eat them. Throw them away, regardless of where you bought them or by the use date. Wash and sanitize the drawers or shelves in the refrigerator and freezer where the product was stored. Now, Listeria has several different symptoms, including fatigue, muscle aches, and other people complain of fevers and flu-like symptoms. On January the 9th, Lunching with Books at Pontotoc County Library will have the presenter Molly May. She will be talking about her book, My Crowning Achievement. This is sponsored by Town and Country Garden Club, and the music is provided by the Pontotoc Music Study Club members. Speaking of Lunching with Books, at the Union County Library, it is held on the 3rd Tuesday. Starts at 11:30 with a light lunch, and then the speaker usually starts around noon. You can find several of these programs archived on our website through our Programs tab. You can go to hillcountrynetwork.net, click on the Programs tab, and find the Luncheon with Books. You can also find Museum Moments archived there. The Museum Moments are held on the third Thursdays with a light lunch at 11:30 with a speaker usually starting around noon. These two meetings are open to the public. You're invited. Come and listen. There's lots to learn. Now, the Oxford Film Fest is fastly approaching on March the 18th through the 22nd. They will soon be releasing the film blocks that will be coming up and any special guests that might come in. There's always a great opportunity for Mississippi to shine in our hospitality and tourism during this time. A New Albany Elementary volunteer workers for January. Now, the students in grades 3 through 5 at the New Albany Elementary School completed an employment application for volunteer jobs around the school. Students volunteer with job ranges from classroom helper, scuff mark remover, office vacuumer, recycling helper, and more. Over 200 3rd through 5th grade students are volunteering this school year. Pictured are some of the January volunteered workers. Well done, young people. Now, the New Albany students selected to participate in the wreath-laying ceremony was Ansley Coleman, a 6th grader. She recently received the official notification that she has been selected to be a part of the formal ceremony where she will lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery in the fall of 2020. Coleman visited Washington, D.C. and Arlington National Cemetery with her family in April 2018. She was able to watch the wreath-laying ceremony where a high school student from Virginia was given this unique honor. Knowing that she wanted to be able to participate in the same way, Coleman researched how to apply and completed the application for the wreath-laying ceremony. New Albany Elementary School's Employee of the Month for December are Dawn Stroop and Julia Harrington. Miss Dawn teaches 5th grade math, and Miss Julia teaches kindergarten. Governor-elect Tate Reeves released a full schedule of public events celebrating his inauguration in 2020. Mississippians and supporters from across the country will come together in our state's capital on January the 12th through the 14th to mark this historic moment. Continuing Mississippi's inauguration traditions, the celebrations will include the swearing-in ceremony, a parade winding through downtown Jackson, the inaugural ball, and much more. Ellie and I are blessed to join our fellow Mississippians for a big, fun-filled day to celebrate this moment in history. Having grown up in small-town Mississippi, I know how important and auspicious this day is, not only for my family, but for everyone living in small towns across our great state. I am truly honored that the people of Mississippi elected me as their next governor and look forward to being sworn in to represent all of Mississippians as the 65th governor of Mississippi, said Governor-elect Tate Reeves. We will have some clips of when the then Lieutenant Governor visited Northeast Campus here in New Albany, and that'll be later in the show. And thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. Be sure to go to all of our social media and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and go to our Facebook page and like it. We have recently reached a plateau of 4,000 likes. That's great. Also, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers just as quickly as we can, because when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we will be able to do YouTube live shows. So that way you can see the parades as they happen right there on your computer screen if you can't come. Also, we'll soon be having some live shows coming up in 2020. Isn't that exciting? We are very excited about that. This way you will be able to interact with the shows. Some of them will have call-in options. Some might not. But you'll be able to watch them live. We hope you have a wonderful week. How you guys doing? First of all, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate you. Yeah. So what are y'all doing here?
Well, right now, man, we're out here recruiting the local community, talking to young men and women about their opportunities the Marine Corps has, explaining to them about different programs like the NRTC scholarship that'll pay for a full 4-year, college degree, various education and career opportunities the Marine Corps has, just educating the local community as well as a pull-up challenge. Students or young people can come do some pull-ups, win some incentive items from the Marine Corps, lanyards, hats, stuff like that. So just being out and showing face to the local community, answer any questions that the community or students may have about the Marine Corps, just educating a little bit more in depth.
Right. How long you been in?
Personally, 8 years.
8 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you from?
Originally Pensacola, Florida. Then came out here, went to California, now I'm out here in Mississippi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Been here for 3 years, so I enjoy the people.
Good.
Good people out here.
Where are you from?
I'm my hometown.
Oh, y'all running away.
Originally, I'm from Danbury, Connecticut, ma'am. A long way from home.
Yes, you are.
But definitely one thing I wanted out of the Marine Corps was travel and adventure. And here I am in Mississippi 6 years later, ma'am.
All right.
Definitely love the food, love the people. Honestly, I think I might stay here. That's how nice it is over here, ma'am.
Lovely.
It is, it is.
Well, welcome.
Oh, well, thank you.
And you, sir?
Yeah, I'm from a small little town called Moultrie, Georgia.
Where?
Moultrie, Georgia.
Okay.
You drive through it in a matter of 6 minutes. Seriously, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's a small little place, I like it.
Oh, good.
Man, we got a Walmart.
Hey.
So we official.
There you go. And you?
From Tupelo, Mississippi.
Homeboy.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What brought you to the Corps?
Better myself and better my life.
Cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I'll think about it.
Okay. Let's come back.
Dean.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from New Albany, ma'am, but I live in Union Flat.
Oh, wow.
Yes, ma'am.
You graduated from New Albany?
Yes, ma'am, I did. This past year I did.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here still.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
graduated from Albany High School, class of 2018. Went to boot camp, Paris, South Carolina, combat training, his job school to learn how to be a motor transportation mechanic, diesel mechanic, and now he's actually stationed in Okinawa, Japan.
Oh,
He's
nice.
back here on recruiter assistance at the moment. So
Cool.
a lot of young people want travel and adventure. He's one that got it for sure.
Yeah.
He's one that got it for sure. So.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Sergeant Up with the United States Marines, and this is what 6 years of service does to you. Thank you, ma'am.
That's outstanding.
He likes to show off.
I know,
Well,
right?
here's the beauty of it. He was not this way before he joined the Marine
Not
Corps.
at all.
He was a very, very skinny, probably couldn't even do a single pull-up in high school.
Oh, so you went Captain America on it.
Oh, yes. He fell in love with the physical fitness side of the Marine Corps.
Awesome. Who else is going to do it?
I can't do muscle-ups. I ain't strong enough for that.
Or
Believe it or not.
just pull-ups?
You should have called me yesterday.
Yeah, just pull-ups would be great.
I'm too tired for that now.
But, in the Marine Corps, no day number in your ear.
Right.
Get that hat. Good. Show me. Good. Show me. Good. I thought you wanted another hat.
Awesome.
Grow on. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being
No,
here.
my pleasure.
All those jobs we have in Albany. I do want to say a special welcome to our guest today, and we're very pleased to have him come along and gotten to know him not as well as I would like, but gotten to know him for the last couple of years and working in the Capitol and things like that. But I do know this, that he is he's very much interested in the citizens of the state of Mississippi, and he's very much interested in education, workforce training, and those type things, which makes Mississippi great in the end. So without any further ado, we thank you all for coming to Northeast Campus, but I want to introduce to you Governor Tate Reeves.
Thank you. Well, thank y'all, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today, here in Union County, and particularly at Northeast at New Albany. I had not seen that, but I saw it on the board out there earlier, and I like it. Northeast at New Albany. Being on this campus is very important to me because this campus and so many other community college campuses around Mississippi are going to play such a vital role in what the next governor focuses on, I believe. I believe that the next governor of Mississippi will spend, if they're doing their job right, will spend more time on training and retraining our workforce in Mississippi than doing anything else. Now, there are a lot of other things that they could focus on. There's a lot of other things that they may want to focus on. But in my opinion, if we are going to grow Mississippi's economy, the way in which to do it is to be prepared to focus on training and retraining our workforce for the jobs of the next 50 years, not the jobs of the last 50 years. And the reason I say that is because we have started making tremendous progress in Mississippi when it comes to K through 12 education. You don't read a lot about it in the newspaper because they don't like to write stories about the good things that are going on. It's just a fact. It's just reality. But listen to these actual results that are happening in Mississippi in the K through 12 system. When I ran for lieutenant governor 8 years ago, the national high school graduation rate, the average, was 83%. That very same year, Mississippi's was 73%. We were 10 percentage points below the national average. Last year, the national average had risen from 83% to 84%. Mississippi's, during that same time, had risen from 73% to 84%. We are now on top of the national average. And if the trends continue, we will exceed the national average for high school graduation rates this year. Now, those are a bunch of statistics, and they're all cute and they're all nice, right? And I'm a math guy, and so I like to talk about statistics. Here's what it means in the real world. There are 3,000 more kids that are graduating from high school last year that would not have graduated 8 years ago. Now, we all understand that those 3,000 kids have a totally different outlook on life now because they stayed in school. And not only do they have a totally different outlook on life, they have a totally different set of opportunities to provide for themselves and provide for their families. And when you're talking about 3,000 kids a year, in 5 years, that's 15,000 kids. In 10 years, that's 30,000 kids that have a totally different outlook on life and have a totally different set of opportunities. Well, what we've got to be prepared to do is to take those 30,000 kids and all the other ones, and for those who choose not to go to college, and by the way, that's an option that is perfectly acceptable. For those who choose not to go to college, for them to learn a skill, for them to learn some way in which to provide for their families. And I say that as the son of someone who graduated from high school. My dad was one of 11 kids. He grew up with 5 brothers and 5 sisters. They grew up in a 2-bedroom house in Bogachita, Mississippi. He went to community college. He went to Colin on a half basketball and half football scholarship. Halfway through his freshman year, he quit both, and he ain't a quitter. But what he learned was he could make more money working in the paper mill in Wesson after school than he was making with those 2 half scholarships. So he made an economic decision. He put himself through school and then came to Metro Jackson and worked for a living, put himself through Mississippi College where he got a math degree. Started a small business in the early 1970s and in the heating and air conditioning business and has grown it to one of the largest heating and air conditioning companies in central Mississippi. And so I say all that simply to say I know what learning a skill can mean, and I know what he can pay his technicians in the HVAC space, and I also know that it's hard to find them. And it's hard to find good plumbers. And it's hard to find enough welders for Ingalls on the coast, but also for the business and industry in northeast Mississippi. And so what we've got to do as a state is continue to work to improve that. Because the one economic stat that I look at more closely than anything is per capita income. For us to see long-term economic growth in Mississippi, we've got to do a couple of things. Number one, it's really in two areas. Right now we have the lowest workforce participation rate in America. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. The primary reason we have the lowest workforce participation rate in America, in my opinion, is because many people, either subconsciously or consciously or otherwise, are making an economic decision. Because of the fact that during the Obama administration they removed the requirement for work, the work requirement, on many of the benefit programs. Because they removed that, now folks are making an economic decision because the skills that they have and what they can earn based upon the skills that they currently have compared to what they earn by doing nothing, the gap isn't large enough. And so we've got to take those that are choosing not to be in the workforce and teach them a skill where they can have earning potential that is much greater than what they're currently making by not working. And then the other thing we must do is we got to take those that have proven a willingness to work, and many people in this part of our state have a very strong work ethic, that are making $35,000 and $40,000 and $45,000 a year. And we want to train and retrain those individuals so that they can make jobs that are $45,000 and $50,000 and $55,000 a year. Just imagine if we could take 1,000 or 1,500 or even the 3,000 kids that are graduating from high school every year that weren't some time ago, and take those 3,000 people and enhance or increase their annual income by $10,000 a year because they were able to either go to a community college or some other program to learn a skill and become more valuable at what they do. We can transform Mississippi's economy simply by focusing on that group. In the old days we used to talk about, and I used to always say when I was running for office, I am running because I believe that we need more and better paying jobs in Mississippi. Today we have the lowest unemployment rate in the history of our state. We have more people working today than at any time in the history of our state. And still we have about 50,000 jobs that are available. In the old days we used to have people out looking for jobs. Today we actually have jobs out looking for people. And so if we're going to be successful as a state, we got to increase the number of people that are in the workforce, and we got to take those that are currently in the workforce and make sure that they have upward mobility in their earning potential. Because at the end of the day, if they have upward mobility in their earning potential, they can do a better job providing for themselves and providing for their families. I also believe very strongly, and I think I've proven this in 8 years, that we have to have a government that is fiscally responsible. We cannot spend money that we do not have. And we have to understand that our economy is better if you get to keep more of your money than if you send more of your money to Jackson. But what I want you to know today is this: a fiscally responsible government is good for everybody. Not too long ago, literally during this campaign, I proposed a $100 million capital investment in workforce training and workforce development across Mississippi. And the press is like, well, how are you going to pay for it? Well, unlike my opponent, I'll tell you exactly how I'm going to pay for it. The fact of the matter is, when I came into office in January of 2004, Mississippi had $13 million in our rainy day fund. We're going to end the fiscal year June 30th, at the lapse period, having $554 million in our rainy day fund. For the first time in our state's history, our rainy day fund will be full, and we have 10% of our annual operating budget set aside for a rainy day. What that does, having a full rainy day fund, means we don't have to keep putting money in our rainy day fund every year from recurring revenues. That frees up money to spend on our priorities. In addition to that, we also have what we call our capital expense fund. Our capital expense fund, the legislature during an election year spent certain monies, but we have almost $120 million that is unallocated in our capital expense fund. And so my proposal to spend $100 million comes directly out of our capital expense fund. So it doesn't touch anybody's not recurring monies in the budget. Of the $100 million that we have proposed, $75 million is investments in facilities and machinery and equipment, which I have been told throughout the state we need more of. And so those one-time monies are available for those one-time expenses. That's where fiscal responsibility matters to people around the state, because we're going to be able to make that investment without raising anybody's taxes and without reducing anybody's recurring annual budget as it's currently funded within the state. I am a big proponent of continuing to increase teacher pay in Mississippi. We have worked hard over the last 5 years to increase starting salaries for teachers from $31,000 a year at the K through 12 level to $36,000 a year. And I plan within a very short period of time to announce our proposal to pay for an additional increase in teacher pay at the K through 12 level to get us to the southeastern average. But what I also want you to know, and I've told my team as we develop our plans, that we are not going to propose any increases in teacher compensation that doesn't also include a multi-year teacher pay professor increases at our community colleges. Because we believe if you look at both K through 12 community colleges and our institutions of higher learning and the increases in salaries over the last 10 years, what you find is that in many instances our community college professors have actually got left behind. And so we're going to right that. We're going to right that ship, and it's something that I am absolutely committed to. And so when we announce our proposal, it will include a multi-year pay increase for those at our community colleges, because we think that's critically important. So we've got a lot of work to do. I'm excited about this campaign. I'm excited about what's going on in Mississippi. I'm excited about those graduation rates that I mentioned earlier. But I'm also excited about the fact that if you look at 4th grade reading and 4th grade math, you look at 8th grade reading and 8th grade math test scores on the nation's report card, it is incredible what's going on in Mississippi's classrooms. In those 4 areas, the worst Mississippi kids do relative to the rest of the nation is in 8th grade math. And if you look at 10-year growth numbers in 8th grade math, Mississippi kids outperform 38 other states over the last 10 years. We're 12th in the nation. In 4th grade reading, due in large part to the 3rd Grade Literacy Promotion Act that was enacted under conservative leadership in Mississippi, over the last 10 years, our 10-year growth numbers in our reading comprehension in our NAEP test scores, we outperform 48 other states. Mississippi kids are second in the nation in gains in reading amongst 4th graders over the last 10 years. Now, I don't understand why people in the press won't write about that. Because to me, I believe success begets success. And if we congratulated and thanked everyone that was responsible for that, we'd get even more successes in the future. And let me tell you who I think is responsible for that. It's nobody in Jackson. All we did in Jackson is raise the level of expectations. And what's happened is, when we raise the level of expectations, Mississippians have done what Mississippians do. They've risen up and they've met those increased expectations. The credit belongs to the administrators and the teachers and the parents, and most of all to the kids in our schools around Mississippi. They are the ones that are putting in the extra effort. They are the ones that are actually performing. And I will tell you, while those 4th grade reading results, they're not going to have a significant impact on Mississippi's workforce while I'm governor, because they're going to still be in high school. But I will tell you, long term, these 4th graders today are going to be better educated. They're going to be better positioned to be extremely successful in life, all because of the decisions that we've enacted, we've put in place, and the work that's gone in by teachers and administrators all throughout the state. And I'm excited about that. You know, the fact of the matter is, they don't want to write about it, but we got folks from all over the country calling Mississippi now saying, what are y'all doing in this K through 12 space? Here's what we've done. We've changed the discussion. It's no longer all about inputs. We're now talking about outcomes for our kids, and that's critically important. And so, as you can probably tell, I'm passionate about it. I'm excited about it. I'm proud that we have seen real progress in our state, and I know that if we make the right choice on November the 5th, we will continue to move Mississippi to an even higher level. So with that, I'm going to be quiet and open the floor to any easy questions that y'all may have. I noticed that Senator Browning is here, and so since Senator Browning is here, he's retiring, so if you have any really hard questions, you can ask him. But if you have any easy questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you. That's the rate I'm retired.
On that is, we moved it from Iuka, Mississippi. It's a mobile lab. Just exactly the reason, because I had to get the training out to the rural communities. And our truck driving program moved it last Friday to here. We started Monday with a full class of welding. That's 7. We've got 7 welding booths. But yesterday the air went out, and it is hot out there, and those folks out there don't have a dry stitch on them because it's hot. So I was going to give you a little warning there, but you're going to see that mobile lab. We've owned it as a consortium for 9 years, and this summer was 9 years, and it's never not had a full class. So back to back, we're wearing that equipment out. We need new.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned the truck driver training that you're doing. Yesterday we had this great conversation not too far from here, and one of the individuals in the roundtable discussion said something to the effect of he had read an article, and the CEO of UPS had said that through technology they are going to need fewer drivers 10, 15, 20 years from now than they have today. Well, one of the old guys that runs he would say a small business, probably not such a small business, came up to me afterwards. He said, "Hey, can you figure out where UPS is going to not need drivers? Because I need to hire as many as I can find, because they are hard to find." And that's the thing about welders, and that's the thing about truck drivers, is we need more of them. And they both pay, on average, significantly higher wages than the average Mississippian makes. And so both are prime examples of programs in our, in this instance, in this community college, that can really give individuals throughout Union County and throughout North Mississippi a hand up, a way in which to enhance their quality of life. And that's really what it's all about, is enhancing long-term quality of life. And we all know that money is not everything, but we also know that if you can learn a skill and have higher earning potential, that's good for everyone around you. Good potential for everyone around you.
You're going to see our robotics lab, and those students are not here. We have a graduate from the student that's going to meet with you today to show you our little lab that we have here. But we're all doing hosting with the Imagine the Possibilities for the 8th grade over in Tupelo. So that's why the
And I'm going to go
there.
by there tomorrow morning. Actually, we were with the Create Foundation yesterday, and they had mentioned it, and so we set up where tomorrow morning I'm going to walk through and visit with that.
Well, last week they would be here.
Is that the Bancorp South Center?
It
I think.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
So I'm going to walk through that as well next week. I'm excited. Tomorrow morning, I think. So
Our
I'm excited.
instructors over there with the other students. We have a graduate that's here that's going to meet with you. We just need more equipment, more space here, and more everything, and then we'll just keep doing it. What we're doing.
You know, the great thing about meetings like this is there are so many people in this room that are working hard every single day to make your community a better place. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about you being willing to invest your time and effort and resources into your community. And if we can do that in every community across Mississippi, the 430-ish cities, towns, municipalities, the 82 counties, etc., we will continue to see Mississippi rise. And that's something I'm excited about.
And you're right. I mean, we're each here to help our families do better, our communities do better, our counties, our state. But, you know, we're here to save our nation too, Tate. And we're all pretty passionate about that as well. And we realize that the governor's race is an extremely important block in that direction, building block. So we thank you for running and being such a strong leader and helping us to save our country.
I will tell you this. Everybody pass?
No.
We have an honest one there.
It's a tough curriculum.
It was a challenge, huh?
That's a tough curriculum.
These are here. We blame caretakers of the future right here.
That's right. That's right.
Look, I'm proud of y'all for putting in the hours. I know it's hard, but it will be worth it long term. And it'll be great for Mississippi too. One thing that's for sure is that in the healthcare space, regardless of what you think the future is going to hold, the one thing we know for sure is there's going to be more need for healthcare professionals in the future because we have an aging population, and so you're going to be part of the solution.
Jacqueline Mass, Chancery Court Judge for the 1st Chancery Court District. Union County is one of my counties, and I have the privilege of administering the oath to all of the Union County elected officials today at 2 o'clock, and I think that Union County is in excellent hands. I think 2020 is going to be an excellent year for Union County. I think we've got some great leaders here that are taking Union County in the right direction, and I'm delighted to serve. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today and to show your support for our elected officials. I think it's so important for us to support our elected officials. Congratulations to all of you. You have won. You're here for 4 years. Not only your hard work, but your family and your friends. And so we're about to start a good 4 years for Union County. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. That's one of my favorite Bible verses, and I think today is a day of rejoicing because I think Union County is in excellent hands and we're headed in the right direction. I just want to share a story with you that I learned about recently, and I think it's worth repeating. Have any of you heard of Edward Kimball? I'm sure Brother Mark has heard of him, but he was a humble Sunday school teacher, a shy man that was responsible for teaching young people about the Lord, and he took his job very seriously. And he brought Dwight Moody to the Lord. You may recognize that name. He started the Moody Church, the Moody Institute, and was an evangelist and just won a lot of people for Christ. And he won over Wilbur Chapman, who in turn won over Billy Sunday. Billy Sunday was a baseball player and became an evangelist. Mordecai Ham, and it was Billy Graham that went to a tent revival that where Mordecai Ham was preaching and accepted the Lord as his Savior. And we all know Billy Graham. Billy Graham reached 2.2 billion people. And that was all because of a Sunday school teacher many years ago that took their job very seriously and did the little things that the Lord called upon him to do. A quote by Dwight Moody is, "There are many of us that are willing to do great things for the Lord, but few of us that are willing to do little things for the Lord." And I just want us to think about that as the year 2020 rolls around and how every day what we say and do affects so many people. And I would think our elected officials have a tremendous opportunity to positively impact so many lives. They come in contact with so many lives every day, and when you speak to them, and you help them, and you direct them, and you guide them, and you offer your service to them, because we are here to serve. We're changing lives positively, and I'm thankful that these guys and gals are willing to serve Union County and for their commitment to make Union County a better place. I truly appreciate all of you. Now, we're taking the program a little bit out of order because we don't want the criminal element to know that our law officers are all in one place so that they can wreak havoc on Union County. So we're going to call our sheriff up first. Where is Jimmy Edwards? There you are. Jimmy, you bring your family. This is your day. And not only is it the elected officials' day, but it's the family's day too, so bring as many or as few as you want to. You may come by yourself or the whole group. I want to take a moment while they're coming up. Our law enforcement officers do not get enough praise. Please take your time to praise them. They are that line between good and evil. They are the reason that we're able to go to Walmart and go to church and do all the things that we do freely without worrying about our safety. You are our heroes, and I thank you for your willingness to serve. Come and stand in this general area. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jimmy Edwards,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
and obey the laws thereof, that I am not disqualified from holding the office of Union County Sheriff, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God.
Would you all raise your right hand and repeat after me, please? I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof. That I am not disqualified from holding the office of, and then state the one that applies to you: Union County Deputy, Union County Jailer, Union County Personnel. Thank you. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Repeat after me. I, solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof. That I am not disqualified from holding the office of Union County Chancery Clerk. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Thank you. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Phyllis Stanford, solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof. That I am not disqualified from holding the office of Union County Circuit Clerk. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. I state your name. Solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the State of Mississippi and the Constitution of the United States, and obey the laws thereof. That I am not disqualified from holding the office of Union County Coroner. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. I state your name. Solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof. That I am not disqualified from holding the office of Union County Tax Assessor Collector. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
and obey the laws thereof.
and obey the laws thereof.
That I am not disqualified
And I'm not disqualified
from holding the office of
from holding the office of
Inspector Office.
Officer.
That I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
upon which
I'm
about to enter.
and I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. You raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Garrett,
Solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will administer justice
that I will administer justice
without respect
without respect
to persons
to persons
and do equal right
and do equal right
to the poor
to the poor
and to the rich.
and to the rich.
And that I will faithfully
And I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties
all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as Justice Court Judge,
as Justice Court Judge,
according to the best
according to the best
of my ability and understanding,
of my ability and understanding,
agreeably to the Constitution
agreeably to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the state of Mississippi.
of the State of Mississippi.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Chris Childers,
I, Chris Childers,
solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will administer justice
that I will administer justice
without respect to persons
without respect to persons
and do equal right
and do equal right
to the poor and to the rich,
to the poor and to the rich,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge and perform
all
all
the duties
the duties incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as Justice Court Judge,
as Justice Court Judge,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding, agreeably to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Mississippi. So help me God.
So help me God.
You raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name. Solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof. That I am not disqualified from holding the office of, and state your office. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. That concludes all of our swearing in. Is there anything that anyone would like to share or add, or anybody that I've left out? We're in the business of administering oaths. Stay for pictures and have a great day. Thank you for being here.
Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is a mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and dowy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. The Tuft of Flowers by Robert Frost. I went to turn the grass once, after one who mowed it in the dew before the sun. The dew was gone that made his blade so keen, before I came to view the leveled scene. I looked for him behind an aisle of trees. I listened for his whetstone on the breeze. But he had gone his way, all grass was mown, and I must be, as he had been, alone. As all must be, I said within my heart, whether they work together or apart. But as I said it, swift there passed me by, on noiseless wing, a wildered butterfly, seeking where memories grown dim overnight, some resting flower of yesterday's delight. And once I marked his flight go round and round, as where some flower lay withering on the ground. And then he flew as far as the eye could see, and then on tremulous wing came back to me. I thought of questions that I had no reply, and would have turned to toss the grass to dry. But he turned first and led my eye to look at a tall tuft of flowers beside a brook. A leaping tongue of bloom the scythe had spared, beside a reedy brook the scythe had bared. I left my place to know them by their name, finding them butterfly weed as I came. The mower in the dew had loved them thus, by leaving them to furnish, not for us, nor yet to draw one thought of ours to him, but from sheer morning gladness to the brim. The butterfly and I had lit upon, nevertheless, a message from the dawn. That made me hear the awakening birds around, and hear his long scythe whispering to the ground, and feel a spirit kindred to my own, so that henceforth I worked no more alone. But glad with him I worked, as with his aid, and wearily sought at noon with him the shade. And dreaming as it were with brotherly speech, with one whose thought I had not hoped to reach. Men work together, I told him from the heart, whether they work together or apart.